Today we are going to look at some sidewalk chalk and figure out a new way of doing sidewalk chalk with water. All right, we are going to look at some sidewalk chalk. I just picked up this big box. Lots of cool chalk. I am going to use water and I am going to pour it on the sidewalk and I'll show you what's going to happen. Okay, so since the concrete is not absorbent like a sponge, it's sitting on the surface until it dries. What you want to do is push it out so that it's not a giant puddle. So there's my circle, the shape of my bubble. Now I'm going to use the chalk and draw directly to the water in colors that I want to use for my bubble. And I'm only coloring within the water. You'll notice that it starts to get really chalky when it dries. So you only have a certain amount of time to work on it, but you can always add more water.
However, if you add too much water, then that can become a problem too. So just be aware of how much you're adding, maybe just a little bit at a time. What I noticed is a bubble is a reflective surface. That means if you were looking up at the sun and it was shining down on the bubble, you'd see one side that's a little lighter than the other. The lighter side would be the side closest to the sun. The darker side would be the part that isn't close to the sun. This is when stuff starts to get fun. You can blend it with your fingers. I like this part the best. It's a little bit slimy, but it feels nice. And I'm going to add a little more water here, but not too much, and I have to remember to spread it around. Let's see, what should my next color be? Yes, a lighter color. As it gets closer to the sun, my bubble will be lighter. But the cool thing now is that the chalk and the water kind of blend together. Between the water and the chalk, there's a period of time when you can start to blend it with your fingers. There, that's better. I had too much water before. A little at a time. It's time to add in a new color. I've noticed over time, as the water dries, the chalk is easier to blend with my fingers. So as much as I love color, there becomes a point where you need to start adding lighter colors because we want it to move lighter towards the sun. That's where the glimmer of light will come from. So I'm choosing to go with a light pink. And I'm remembering that at the top is where I want it to be lighter, and at the bottom is where I want it to be darker. And I'm blending in areas with my fingers when I need to. Now I'm going to put a little bit of pink here and blend it with my fingers, spreading it out around the water so that I can get a nice foundation for my next color, which is white. And I blend that together. This is the point where I'm going to start from that spot, and I'm going to move my fingers around in a circular way. Try to blend in and make it look like the light is going on the surface on a round object.
So if you'll notice from the video, I used darkest chalk on the outside, and then first of all, I put water on it, and it sat like a little puddle, and then I smeared it out into a circular shape. Then I used the darkest color that I wanted to use for my bubble, which in this case was this teal. You can choose whatever you would like. And then I started working it up into the corner where it would be a lighter spot. So, I'm going to let this dry, and then we will come back to look at it, and you'll see what it looks like when we're finished. It is definitely starting to dry. How much water depends on how long it will take to dry. You can see that it is still a little wet over here because I did some touch-ups. Still wet over here because that was where all that water puddled up before. So I'm going to let this dry, and we should see it turning like this and like this. Let's see, is that dry? Nope, not quite, but this area is. And now that it is completely dry, I had to do something there so you can tell from the color difference it's not quite dry, but the rest of it is. And the cool thing about doing this is the chalk is pretty thick, so it actually takes a lot to wash off, which is kind of cool because you can enjoy it just that much longer. I like to take lots of pictures of the work that I have, especially ones that aren't permanent. Close-ups. Check out all that texture. So then I decided to go ahead and put a couple little buddies in there. Look at the little bubbles. Then I went ahead and took one of my pictures and stuck it in a photo app, putting a filter on it. I like it. It's kind of grungy and gritty. What do you think? I can't wait to see what you come up with. Be sure to share it on our Oak View Creative Space Flipgrid. That's OV Creative Space.